popping, you beautiful humans? My name is Ariane Andrew.
I'm Matt Dillon, and welcome to another piping hot episode of Sippin' the Tea, where we
sip the tea and our guests
spill that tea. Man, that just went up from $3.99 to 99 cents because that was popping.
I almost spilled my tea over here. It's a little full.
You're full, girl. Ready? I think we'll get some juicy tea today. What's up? Oh, the gang's all on Uncle Matt today. What's up, everybody? We got Glitty.
And little Mama's
We got Mama. We got a breakout star of MTV's Wildin' Out with us today. He is a foodie. He is a comedian. But the most important thing that I noticed on his little slashy bio was that he was a master cuddler. So I can't wait. Mr. Timothy DeLaGhetto, what's up, man?
Pussy pop.
Yeah! There's a lot of pussy popping.
Okay, should we just dive right on in?
Let's dive, whatever you want to do.
Okay, so I'm just going to consider you a native because you've been out here forever, which is super rare. There's not many people here from California. So you got to represent. But we have to take it back. You know, how did your career get started? When did you know you had like that passion to be an entertainer? Because you're doing it all.
Man, well, thank you. Yeah, you know, I mean, I've always wanted to do the entertainment thing ever since I was a little ass kid. Like, it's always just, you know, like a goal of mine. You know, I was always like in school plays and performing for my family and stuff like that. I just knew I wanted to be an entertainer, you know?
Okay.
So that was just something I always wanted to do, especially since I felt like, you know, it wasn't a lot of Asian dudes in TV and movies and all that. I just wanted to rep for my peoples, you know?
I can dig it.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
So, okay, like, we're going to take it right here. So you've worked with my girl, Justina.
We were just discussing that, yes.
Yeah.
She's so dope. Yeah, I did like, what was it, the MTV challenge with her.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Oh, did you?
Yeah, she's super dope.
Right.
I actually just talked to her a few days ago.
And I used to do her PR, so we all together now, Miss Valentine.
Right? So how did that opportunity with Wildin' Out like happen? How did that just like land in your hand?
Because he's a G. Can't you tell?
I am a G, this is true. And also, well, what happened was I was already kind of doing my thing on YouTube for a bit. And you know, when I was because this was like the reboot of Wildin' Out, you know? So when I was a little kid, well, not a little kid, but when Wildin' Out used to be on, I thought, man, I'd be so good for this show because it was like the rap and the comedy, and I was like rapping and I was funny, you know, like. So yeah, I thought, man, I'd be good for this show. And then so when Nick brought it back, I followed him on Twitter, and he tweeted, "Who's the funniest person online? Whoever gets the most retweets of #Wildin' Out needs me, I'll audition personally." So I had like my minions retweet, you know, and
your peoples.
My peoples, and then after that, someone DM'd me and they were like, "If you'd really like to audition, contact this person." And so I auditioned. It was like me in a room of like, I don't know, maybe like 7 people. Nick was right there at a desk.
Yeah.
And you get there and he's just like, all right, well, Nick actually knew me from my music first before he knew the comedy stuff.
Okay.
Because so I used to rap under the name Traffic. And that was like my rap name. I retired that name. But
now he's a star, people. He don't need to go under no like pseudonyms.
So he had another artist that was also doing like music digitally and stuff. And so Billboard had put out this list called the Uncharted chart, which was anybody who was mainly doing their thing musically just on YouTube and online. And I was number 1 on the list, and then one of his artists was like on the list. So he knew me from the rap stuff. So he hit me up. So I auditioned, they were like freestyle, and then you know, we played some improv games, and it was stuff like they'd be like, all right, Kevin Hart's in front of you right now, diss him, you know, like wild style him. And so then they called me back, and then I was on the show.
Look at that.
Man, and I did like 6 seasons. 6 years, 8 seasons.
Damn.
Yeah.
Literally popping. One thing I really appreciate, like, watching you and watching your various things that you do is that you lead it through passion and what you're passionate about. Now, let's talk about food.
Let's talk about food.
Because not only do you have your food channel, it's like you're blending food, and there's so many people that do this, but you bring in like this humor and this like mad, like, it's kind of like a collective of people around the concept of food. So take us through that. How much do you eat? Let's break it down.
Keep the figure
He's keeping it together because I was like, what?
So that's the thing, right? So I just love food, right?
Yeah.
I appreciate just all types of food.
Look at that eyes. He's like, I love my wife and I love food.
I really, because the thing about it is like, so my family had a Thai food restaurant for like 20 years.
Okay.
And even like, I always tell, like, even when we were like broke, my mom always made sure the meals were tasty. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't even like the because I love me a bougie meal now, But I always tell people, like, I feel like my love for the bougie stuff came from me coming from being broke and watching the Food Network and being like, man, I've never heard of this before, but I really want to try whatever it is they're talking about. You know what I'm saying?
I'm into that.
And so as I got older, my family opened up a Thai food restaurant, and then that's when I really, when the money started coming in, it's like, now let me try all this stuff I've never seen or heard before, right? And I really kind of just really got like a passion for food and food in general. And but I still love me like a filet o fish too. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the thing about it, is like I appreciate it all,
Is that what I think? That's why you connect with people.
Yeah.
You are just in the first 5 minutes here, I'm like, this motherfucker real.
I love it. It's like pussy pie.
I love me a filet of fish and a McChicken, bitch. Let's go.
Which leads me to my question, like, because you have a ginormous following, which is, I feel like it's hard to get an authentic following that people really follow you for like your craft and what you're doing. And I mean, it shows, but would you say it's from you just being authentic is what's grown your brand so like huge, because you're killing it?
Well,
social
thanks.
media, YouTube, just you're murdering it.
Man, look, well, thank you. First of all,
Murder.
well, thank you.
No, for real.
I mean, look, I'm not gonna lie, man. I've been on YouTube for like since like 06, and
You're the OG of you.
yeah, I mean,
in the
shit.
beginnings.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, I'm one of the pioneers of doing this thing on YouTube, and I definitely feel blessed that people still tune in as consistently as they do after like 13 years or so, because it's been a minute, like, and I feel like a lot of that has to do with like what you said. I tried to just be as me as possible from the beginning, because I feel like a lot of people online, they feel like they kind of have to put on a certain persona or personality, and they I feel like that's why there's so many like online creators and social media people who are like, I'm not happy, I need a break, I can't deal with this anymore, because they feel the burden of having to be fake all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like me, I'm like, I'm good.
But that's why you are good, I think, because you can't fuck with fake, and it's like eventually that will sizzle out. So if you came in real, and that's just built, and it's like the engagement that you have across the board. It's nice to see somebody like do it the right way.
Thanks, man. And like you said, that's why I feel like people that have stuck with me, because they feel like they not only do they know me to an extent, but I feel like that's why they're rooting for me. You know,
Yes.
So that's why they stuck with the journey, because they genuinely fuck with me.
Boom.
I mean, there's no better way to really put it, but
No, there's not. Plus, you make the food videos like the funniest shit I've ever seen. I was like, look at how you making like lo mein chow fucking funny, man. I'm like, this shit is popping.
The thing about the food show is that I feel like, like I said, I watched a lot of bougie shit. I love the Food Network, but I feel like there was a whole audience of foodies that aren't necessarily bougie like that.
Yeah, they don't have that. Yes, everybody that's not in the bougie up there.
Right.
That's everybody for sure, and you tapped into that.
So I was like, yeah, man, there's like, let me do some food content that just people like me can relate to. It's like, hey, man, I like food, I like to eat.
I love it.
And it's different. You found like a niche, because it's like everyone else is doing like you said, doing the same thing, or everyone's trying to be the next this person. Like, damn, just be the next you, because that's no one can do you like you. So I think that's super dope. And wait, hold on, we got to talk about your brand too, the Goodie brand. Like literally you got this.
He's like, I just want to be jack of everything.
Jack of all
to get money.
Right?
Yes!
Right? Get that coin.
That's it.
And the coin comes when you do it authentically.
True. and it just branches out. So how do you balance it all? But before we get to that, I just want you to talk about your brand and how all that started. How'd you get the get the name and the whole name?
I mean, speaking of clothing, your dress is popping too.
Ooh, thank you.
Oh, and I like this sweater.
I was like, hang on, let me just sit here. Girl, give him a 12, girl. Get that butt in that camera.
We're gonna keep it cute because my little poofa right here is like.
See, she keeps it 100. I love her poofa.
Everybody has a poof when they're sitting there.
No, I work out too hard though, damn it.
This bitch is a demon.
Okay, we're gonna get it back onto you.
Right.
Yes, so your brand.
My brand, yeah. Me and my boy, we started Goody brand a few years ago, and we called it Goody because I feel like back then it was a lot of companies that were trying to be like we're like rebels and we're vandals and like and every brand was like super like we are rebellious. You know what I'm saying?
I got you.
And me and my boy.
Think about that, yes.
Yeah, we're like. That's not, we were never like, we're not really trying to be all that. We're just we're just us,
Totally.
And to the point where back in the day, back in high school, it's like if you weren't like in a gang, then you were corny, you know what I'm saying? Because me and my boys, we definitely like back in high school, like have been accused of being like corny or you soft because we weren't trying to be like gangster with it. You know what I'm saying? So it was like,
he's in musical theater, bitch. I'm in the game.
Hello. It was musical theater. So it's like we were like, oh, okay. So people might call us like Goody Two Shoes. So that's why we called it Goody. And then it kind of just evolved into being like not so much being a goody, but just being whoever you are, like regardless of what other people might want you to be,
The union between everything that you do comes through with that like kind of truth speaking and just living in your truth. And I think that's like a great message because you do have a lot of people looking up to you. You have this database of people that are just like fucking with you, and it's so important to have people like you that do have a platform. You don't have to be goody. Do you find pressure in that, knowing that you have, especially from Wild 'N Out and like all your food, your comedy? Do you find pressure in like people looking up to you and you're like, shit, I can't fall off that wagon?
I mean, the thing about people looking up to me is, like I said, I've always tried to be as authentically me as I can, right? Yeah. So it's like, if they're looking up to me, I just try to live by example, you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people, especially like, like I said, like younger Asian dudes who never really had an example to look up to.
Absolutely.
A lot of dudes will be like, bro, how are you so confident, right? Because like me, like I'm short and so a lot of dudes will be like, yo, how do you go about like talking to girls when you're short? I'm like, bro, who has time to care about all that?
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
It's like I always tell them like, dude, like your insecurities stopped you from pulling a bad bitch, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like so many girls are looking downward like, man, he's cute. You know what I'm saying? But like short dudes are like, fuck, she don't want to talk to me because I'm short, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, bro, if you just talk to her, you never know.
You know what? That's actually a great piece of advice. Can you repeat that about the bad bitch? Because that is the best. This is called Wisdom with Timothy. Tana, bitch.
Look, here's the thing, okay? You do not want to let your insecurities hold you back from living your best life, right? Whether that be going after the job you want, going after going after the bad bitch. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't you can't be intimidated by something that's out of your control. That's just how I've always felt.
That is 100% keeping it real.
But that's how I feel like people like you succeed is because it's, I mean, do we all have like certain things where like, oh, I wish I could, but there's certain things you can't control.
Absolutely.
You can't control the family you were born. None of these things. You can only control what you're given and be like, how do I take the things that work for me? So I think that that's dope, and that's why you have been super successful because you're like, I just don't give a fuck.
And you
I'm
can.
gonna do
And
me.
it's good to have that somebody to look to that is closer to that realness. There's so many people out there that people do look up to that's like this unattainable nonsense. And I'm like, particularly yourself, you have a major platform mixed in with everything that you've done that it's like, wow, man, you are actually connecting with young folk. And that's so important, whether you realize it or not, that you know, just by living you and doing you, you can actually make change. And you might not visually be able to see it, but kudos to you, brother.
Oh, I see it.
He's like, I got a book coming out. It's called Timothy Speaks. Bye, bitch.
Right. Wait, so speaking of, do you have any other projects that
Yeah, I know he does.
Let's
girl.
spill the tea now.
Let's spill the let's spill the tea.
Come on, spill it. Don't spill it on me or my dog, bitch.
The pussy.
She got a cat in her throat. You got your?
I'm good.
Your pussy good? Her pussy's great.
I hit her with the pussy pop unexpectedly. It's good.
Took a laugh, now we're kicking it back.
In terms of, I'm working on, I haven't put out an album in like 6 years. Like I'm trying to get back on like the rap.
Yeah.
Okay, dope.
Because I had like a pretty solid fan base, but I just kind of focused more on the comedy back then, and also back then, like I had a separate name. I had Traffic as the rap name and Timothy DeLaGhetto as the comedy name because I didn't want people to think I was making comedy like rap.
Gotcha.
So now that I feel like people that know me kind of understand what I'm about, that I'm funny and I happen to also have bars, I can like, I cannot confuse people with two names and just kind of, work on music just as me, you know what I'm saying?
I like that.
Yeah.
Doing that, and man, I'm trying to like write a movie. I feel like that's the best.
Oh, wait,
movie.
just try.
Do
Let's
it.
casually pop in.
No, do it.
Yeah.
I did it. I did it last year.
Yeah.
And
She got fire.
and I'm not gonna, because this is not about me, and we can talk about it after show. But
Yeah.
I say just go for it. And I mean, for someone who's reached the success you have, what I think limits people is just like fear or being like, oh, it's so much. You got all the people in the right field. You know all the right people. I just say go for it.
Look, man, I'm just lazy. You know what I'm saying? It's like
I tend to disagree.
Well, I'm not lazy, but you know what happens is I feel like, sometimes you get some good stuff going and you get a little too comfortable.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
So I'm
Keeping it real.
I'm like, this year, let me stop being comfortable, because I've been talking about writing this movie for years now, and the thing about it is I feel like now, like I said, I've been on YouTube for like over 10 years, and I feel like after even grinding for 10 years, I think like traditional media is just really beginning to look towards like new media people as a talent pool.
Correct.
And the thing about it is, not everybody that is a new media talent is talented.
Right. That's true. That's true.
Right.
Just because you have millions of followers, they be trying to put those people in, and it's like, that ain't
Yeah, exactly.
That ain't hitting.
Exactly.
I could list off 10 stank bitches right now, but we won't.
It's just,
We won't.
right. So they're looking at, because now when you go on auditions, like, you audition and also, but they ask you like, how many followers do you have? And so I feel like, where they're looking at like social media people for talent, not everybody is, some people have followers because they've been like, snorting like chili peppers and stuff. You know what I'm
Different
saying?
vibe.
Yeah.
It's a
Jackass
different
vibes, yeah.
But me, it's like, a lot of my early stuff especially was like primarily like sketches and written stuff and scripted stuff. So I feel like I'm in the right kind of little, I can get in there. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
They're right in there.
Yeah.
Right?
So I'm trying to get in there.
Okay, I'm definitely down. I would love to see, especially with like the background you have. I could see that being.
Oh, 100%.
Thanks. Musical theater.
Yes. So are we about?
Oh, I'm the musical theater gatekeeper.
I was in musical theater as well, bro. I was.
Yeah, you're the bitch taking my lead roles, motherfucker. So get back, sit down.
So we ready
Go, where's these questions, girl?
It's not in there because I didn't put it there.
Oh, wow. I'll let you pull up some rapid fire.
Some rapid
How you doing, Rapidy?
Okay, I want to ask you this
Please
question.
say what?
If you were an animal, what would you be?
I would be a red panda.
We won't ask why. We're just gonna keep it.
It's just my favorite animal.
Okay,
Go ahead.
a red panda.
Girl, that's some rapid fire. Now I'm confused. Well, what
You
happened?
should Google them. They're super cute.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the best advice that you've ever received and who from?
Best advice I've ever received and who from? I wouldn't even say this is my best. This is the first thing that popped into my head.
Okay, yeah, we made it.
Rapid
My
fire.
dad always said, because I'm Thai. So my dad always says, hey, Thai penises are like Thai chili peppers. They're not the biggest, but they're the most powerful. So.
Wait, and saying I'm out of here.
I think we're gonna end it. Okay, that's what we're going to do. We're going better than
That's
that.
some motherfucking raps on this shit, because you can't beat that.
We're going to cheers to
Cheers
that.
to tight penises.
Cheers.
Cheers. And we're going to have you look right up here, right up in this camera, and we're going to have you plug everything where people can find you, the whole nine. You know what to do.
Sure. What's up, man? Thanks for having me, first of all.
Of course.
Yes.
Timothy DeLaGhetto. You can watch my stuff at youtube.com/Timothy. Follow me on Instagram, Timothy DeLaGhetto. And and I got a food show that's called Send Foods with a Z.
Yes.
If you want to check that out. And
You better plug that brand too.
oh yeah, Goody Brand,
Yeah.
goodybrand.com, goodybrand.com if you want to buy some cool clothes. That's it.
That's bitch.
You guys can follow me across the board at Ariane Andrew and this shaky nugget. I don't know why she's shaking that glitty glit.
She's been hopping over and over and over. You can follow me at Matt Dillon 1983, and look, Timothy's got himself a baby mama now. She's right over there.
Let's go.
You guys, all right? Until next week, we will catch you on Sippin' the Tea next
Cheers
week.
it out. Thank you
Cheers,
so
cheers.
much, brother.
Cheers.
Yes.
Yeah, you got the wrong number. Click.